Good evening, my lefty lovies, my cozy anarchist friends. I thought it would be kind of fun tonight to compare two of my favorite creators on YouTube right now who have some similarities and some pretty big differences. So, the people I am interested in and seeing some overlaps are Kat Blaque, trans woman YouTuber, and Sheraseven, woman YouTuber who is interested in financial freedom for people who identify as women. And I thought it would be really fun to compare and contrast some of their ideologies from my perspective, because I know that there's some really cool overlaps and some really interesting differences. I love and appreciate both of these creators very much, and I thought it would be a fun exercise for me and for anyone else who likes these creators to get to know my perspective on them. So one of the overlaps that I really like is that both of these creators either have 3 boyfriends or advocate for other people to have at least 3 boyfriends. So the number 3 boyfriends has come up across both channels, and I really like that. Kat is polyamorous, and she's an advocate for consensual and ethical non-monogamy. So all 3 of her boyfriends know about each other, and that's something that makes her unique from Sheraseven. I'll get that into that in just a second. Okay. Sheraseven also advocates for what she calls a roster, where you should date 3 or 4 at least providers at once, so that if one falls through, then you have others. But she does not use the language of consensual, ethical non-monogamy. She just says roster. Okay. So that's kind of what drew me to making this video, is that, again, the number 3 was coming up, but in one case, the language around it was consensual, ethical non-monogamy. Kat has 3 different partners. They all know about each other. Nothing was really said about the finances in those relationships, but what stood out to me was the truth-telling. All partners know about all other partners. All her boyfriends know what's up. Whereas Sheraseven is unapologetic when she says that you can lie. She says lie. Lie, and your providers shouldn't find out about each other. I really like Shera's financial advice. Although Shera doesn't use the language of reparations, I really like the attitude that she has around, men, they benefit from the patriarchy, so it's time to pay reparations. And I know some of my lefty, lovey, cozy anarchists might... Oh, I gotta hold on because my dinner's ready. I'll be right back. All right, anyways, just finished dinner. It was Beyond chicken nuggets with buffalo sauce and vegan mayonnaise with cabbage. It's very delicious. Yes, I really like Sheraseven's financial advice because she points out that men benefit from patriarchy financially, from unpaid housework, unpaid childcare, etc. Men don't have to go through childbirth and menstrual cycles. When Shira talks about men and women, she's talking about cis men assigned male at birth with, I think, many of, if not all, of the parts that an assigned male at birth person may have. And when Sheraseven talks about a woman, she's talking about a cis woman, assigned female at birth, who obviously has menstrual cycles regularly and can bear children. So this is what Sheraseven means when she's talking about a woman. And I tend to agree with Sheraseven when it comes to those definitions of men and women. I completely believe that those types of women are owed reparations from those types of men, 100%. So I really like her financial advice about using things like an unblock fee if he's cheating on you, or if he's just abusive or weird or any other things like that. And I've started using unblock fees in my life in the cis men around me, and it has really helped me to protect my energy and get paid. So I really like her financial advice for cis men, cis woman, het relationships. And it's not even sexual romantic relationships. This is any men in my life who are providers or could be a provider. Sheraseven talks about men who are not providers are dusties. And I just really love this. I really love this analysis that Sheraseven brings to the table. Basically, she says cis men assigned male at birth have one job, which is to provide, whereas women assigned female at birth have 15 jobs, especially when they get married in these cis het relationships. They are expected to be the mother, the teacher, homeschool teacher, the pet keeper, all kinds of these other things. So it's just, Sheraseven has so much really great content about how to take financial control of your life when you're a cis woman dealing with cis men. Unblock fees, all kinds of other things that you can use to protect your energy from energy vampires or dusties who will waste your time, who will try to go 50-50 on these bills when 50-50 completely does not take into account like patriarchy and the pain and suffering of having menstrual cycles and the pain and suffering of childbirth and all of the unpaid domestic labor and stuff. So 50-50 is just like unacceptable at this point. I just completely have to agree with Sheraseven on that. So in contrast, and this is not like Kat Blaque's fault or anything, like her channel is not a financial advice. It's not even a relationship or dating advice channel. It's more of a political she started out with True Tea, which was, I think, I haven't watched quite enough True Tea to like really summarize True Tea, but I think it was mostly Kat talking about her life as a young trans woman. I don't remember if she came out on YouTube or talked about that, but anyways, it doesn't matter. It's more about trans women and trans Black women and politics, but here and there you get little glimpses of her polyamorous dating experience, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. And I just thought it was really super interesting to compare and contrast the little snippets that I've seen from Kat Blaque's life and all of the relationship and dating advice that comes from Sheraseven. So I don't know, there's just not a lot of Kat Blaque's content is about relationships or finances, especially not her own relationships or her finances, it's very sparse. Most of it is talking about more broadly political stuff. And I want to get into that and maybe contrast that with She-Ra in a second. But so I don't know what to put for this one, like in contrast, or maybe there's somewhere that they meet in the middle. I will say that Kat is straight, so she's a trans woman. She identifies as a trans woman, and she only dates men. She's not, to my knowledge, I don't know if she means cis men or trans men or just all men, any men. She likes men only, but she has 3 boyfriends, and I know her boyfriends like do nice stuff for her, because she has one video where she points back behind her and she's like, "Do you really think I had to hang up any of these paintings and posters behind me?" Which she's implying that she had 3 boyfriends to help her do that. So that's nice. That shows like at least a mutual exchange of mutual aid. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say that her relationships might involve mutual aid in relationships. So, because I'm trying to contrast like the finances, but I really don't know and it's not really my business, but I don't know if Kat splits bills, or she probably, I think if I had to guess, she probably pays her bills herself to live in her apartment. I don't know. But like when they go out to restaurants, does her boyfriend pay, or do they go 50-50? Like She-Ra, in contrast, would say he needs to always be paying. He needs to be generous. He needs to be pretty much always paying all the bills. And I just couldn't agree more. So this is not like advice to Kat to change her life or anything. If she's happy, great. It's just a contrast in what I've seen. I'll just say mutual aid in relationships ? Otherwise, beyond that, Kat's finances are a mystery to me. Her finances and her relationships and how she navigates that is mostly a mystery to me. But I really appreciate how Sheraseven, and that's like her whole thing, how she makes it really clear how she believes those relationships should go down when it comes to finances. Sugar daddies, basically. So I think the last thing I wanted to get into in contrasting Kat Blaque and Sheraseven as creators on YouTube would maybe be, I'm going to change this before I do that. I want to truth telling, all her boyfriends know what's up. All her boyfriends know about each other. There we go. I know I said we were going to move on to the last thing, but I still haven't figured out how I feel about point number 2. Number 1 is just contrasting like the language they use for their 3 boyfriends. I actually don't know if She-Ra has 3 to 4 providers working. That's just the advice she gives to other women. I know she said that she's married to at least 1 provider. So that's what I know. But the advice and the language she uses on her channel is to other women, to cis women looking to date cis men, is that you should have a roster and you should be dating at least 3 men who are providers at once. He pays the car bill, he pays your phone bill, the other one pays your phone bill. He provides you a monthly $2,000 stipend, and the other one pays your rent. And so that's kind of the language. And then the language that Kat would use is, for her 3 boyfriends, would be consensual, ethical, non-monogamy. So that's all good to me. I actually like both language, and I plan to use both as I'm navigating my relationships with cis men. Number 2, I just really haven't come to a personally satisfying answer when it comes to telling the truth or lying. I feel it's very tempting to lie, and this is something I don't really like on Sheraseven's channel, which is she kind of says, women, you should lie because men are going to do it anyways. Men are going to cheat on you. All men cheat. These are things that she believes that I don't necessarily believe have to be true, and think it's kind of problematic to say those kinds of all-encompassing things that can, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas if you believe that all men are cheaters, then, and this is my spiritual manifesting side coming in, if you believe all men are cheaters and that your man will be cheating on you because all men cheat, then that's the reality you're going to live in. So we are very powerful. Words are spells. These are things I believe. Your words are very powerful. Your words can create the reality. Your words and your beliefs can create your reality. So in Sheraseven's reality, she is creating a reality where all men cheat. Whereas I don't know if I want that for me, and I don't know if, and I don't think Kat lives in that reality. I think Kat lives in a reality where she can always tell the truth, and that sounds kind of more appealing to me. One thing I will say though is I like Sheraseven's like preparing for the worst. Like it's like kind of, if I had to contrast this, boil it down to preparing for the best case or preparing for the worst case. Sheraseven is preparing us for the worst case scenario, which is it is the worst case scenario if all men cheat, and she gives you some steps, and I really like this part. It's like a contingency plan. In case your man does cheat, here's what you need to do. You need to make sure you have your wish list ready to go. Like, what things is he going to buy you after, what bills is he going to pay in order to make it up to you or to show you that, whatever. Like, make sure you have your wish list. Make sure you have pictures ready to go so that you can get paid out of this situation. So I really like that as like preparing for the worst. At least you get paid so that you don't get screwed over times 800. So I just really, really like that. And so that's why the all men cheat sort of like the all men cheat worst case scenario, if that were to be the case, how do we prepare for it? You know, like I really like all the advice she has, just in case all men cheat, here's what you need to be doing, right? So I like to have that in the back of my mind. I like to have that. It's like an emergency bag that you grab if there's about to be an earthquake or your house is on fire. I like to have the tools that Sheraseven gives me in my emergency bag, just in case this man that I've been pouring a lot of other things into, like maybe I'm telling him the truth about a lot of things. Maybe even my boyfriends know about each other in some consensual, ethical, non-monogamy relationship. Sort of like trust, working on trust, believing that men are worthy of trust, and that I can live in a world where my men don't cheat on me. That's the kind of world that I think Kat Blaque lives in, and that sounds really appealing. And I want to talk about that in a second, about creating that reality and preparing for the best case rather than preparing for the worst case, which is that all men cheat. The best case scenario is that men don't cheat. That's the best case scenario, right? I want to be able to prepare for both. So that's, another reason I think I wanted to make this video is so I could tease out what was going on with this. Because I have always been sort of uncomfortable with lying. I don't know if that's because of my Christian Catholic upbringing, and I don't want to tell the truth because it's the right thing to do. I want to tell the truth because it's going to create a better world and create a better reality for the end of capitalism, the end of patriarchy. That's kind of the only reason I would want to tell the truth. I would want to tell the truth so it creates my reality. It's because I know it takes a lot of energy to keep up these lies. You guys got to check out Sheraseven's channel. She's like, you got to have Aunt Ethel. Let me tell you guys about Aunt Ethel. So Aunt Ethel is this woman you lie about to your providers in order to get more money out of them. And I'm like, interesting. So it's like, I need my bills paid, but I also pay for Aunt Ethel's bills. She's a disabled grandma and like she has no one else but me. You have to develop this entire story around Aunt Ethel in order to get more money out of these men. And like, it takes a lot of energy. Could be fun. you know? And at the same time, I could be spending that energy on, I don't know, something else. Like, I don't know. It kind of just depends, I guess. It kind of just depends. I want to, in my best case scenario, I want to be around providers that I don't have to lie to get the most money out of them as possible. I want to be around providers who are just so generous and understand reparations and understand patriarchy and their role in upholding it when they aren't generous and things like that. So I want to be around the people who I feel the most truthful. This is my best case scenario, right? I want to be around people who I feel so truthful around that my dream reality is possible and that I can spend my energy on things that excite me. Because telling lies is, I've done that. I have done the lying. I've done that. And it just seems interesting to me to imagine a possible future where I can get all the money I would ever need without ever having to tell another lie. So I guess that's all I'll say on that for now. Oh, I was going to get to the politics of it. This will be quick, I think. And maybe it'll be another video if this one's already too long. But I love Kat's politics a lot. She is pretty anti-capitalist, anti-racist, anti-ICE and all those things. Whereas Shira's kind of helping us to live within capitalism, right? To try to achieve our financial dreams within capitalism, right? There's always Shira's toolbox is to help achieve reparations that the state is not going to give us. Like the state, I would like to make both things happen. I would like statewide, and that was what I was going to say earlier before I had my dinner interruption, is that some of you lefties watching will be thinking that, oh, we can't do reparations on an individual level, or reparations on an individual level don't matter as much as like a systemic level. I reject that view, and I believe that we need both reparations from a large scale, and we also need to be practicing individual relationship to relationship reparations. So in that way, I think Shira works against patriarchy. She's anti-patriarchy. But things you won't find on Sheraseven's channel is statements like, okay, and once we have all the money, what about people in third world countries? What about the fact that the waters are all polluted? And what about climate change and global disasters and the war in Palestine and ICE? And there's just not like any talk about that. And so it gives me pause when it comes to the sort of individualistic way Sheraseven encourages women to go about their finances, because it's not about becoming more connected to your community. It's not about becoming more mutually aiding and level. She does want us all to level up together. She does want women to level up together. So maybe there's an extra layer there that I'm missing. But it's not really anti-capitalist. It is anti-patriarchy, though. I'll just leave it at that. Whereas Kat's most of her stuff is very anti-capitalist, and definitely anti-patriarchy, and just overall very politically very politically well read, well thought out. I don't know, it just feels really safe. It feels really safe when I watch Kat's videos because I know that she's not going to encourage us to all be temporarily apologetic millionaires, she's not going to encourage us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and just work harder, look pretty. That's another thing in Sheraseven's channel. She says you've always got to look good as a woman. If you want to attract these providers, like you've always be looking your best. So there's no discussion of disability or difference or diversity over on Sheraseven's channel. So it doesn't always feel safe, to be honest with you, around what about women who are ugly, or what about women who have disabilities. In fact, there was one video where apparently this woman with cancer couldn't level up according to Shera because she had cancer or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't great. It was not great. And then I left a comment being like, women with cancer deserve to level up and have providers too, or something like that. So I will say that that's a pretty big contrast between these folks. Kat Blaque, I feel a lot more safe watching her videos because it imagines like the futures we want to live in. And then Sheraseven's channel gives us toolboxes to live within patriarchy, but doesn't really say, and get more money from men, honestly. Gives us toolboxes for that, but doesn't say much about, moving beyond the need to get money from these men, if that makes sense. So if you enjoyed this video, actually I would recommend both creators. Go and make your own opinions about it. Both creators have helped me a lot, and both creators deserve your views, your likes and subscribes as well. So definitely go check out both Kat Blaque and Sheraseven. They have both helped me level up a lot, and both of them are helping me prepare for the world we have today and the world that we're going to have tomorrow, the better world we're going to have tomorrow. So it was really fun to create this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more cozy, anarchist, leftist content. And this is xylopiano signing out, you cutie pies. Until next time.